I just love purple. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, another update on the Get It Painted challenge, and I've been a very busy boy painting purple on these warp spiders. I'm going to run over what I've been up to in a second, but first of all, I just love purple. What soundtrack stroke what movie is that from? If you can guess correctly, then bonus points to you. Okay, so that was in my mind because yeah, I've done about 10 hours of painting purple on these guys. Let's zoom in and have a quick look at what I've been up to. So let's just bring one guy out. So first of all, I went over everything with Hormigaunt purple as a little base coat, and that took me about 5 hours to do. There's quite a lot of nooks and crannies as such on these backpacks. The normal guys weren't too bad, but the X-Arts, they were very difficult to get into. I mean, you probably can't see it on the camera. There's lots of little hidden areas which made it quite difficult for me to actually get the paintbrush in. I did manage to do it. I did it by going very carefully, making sure that I only had paint on the very tip of the brush rather than all the way down the bristle, so when I put it into the little gap, I could be very accurate with it. So once I'd done the Hormigaunt purple, I then went over with Light purple, and I did 2 coats of Light purple. That wasn't too bad. That only took me about 3 hours. Obviously, where I had the original base coat down, it was a lot easier just to see where the paint was going. And then I painted the straps on the X-Art legs, and that took me about 2 hours to do the Hormigaunt and then the Light purple. Pretty tricky because although it's like a raised area, it is obviously not just a case of painting the raised areas, you've got to paint the inside and outside edges as well, so pretty tricky, but certainly not impossible. And of course I am painting 15 of these guys, which is actually quite a reasonable amount. Now I'd like to just quickly chat about how I'm managing to paint 15 of these guys in one go. Because I've got a little tip for you potentially here. So although I've got 15 guys on my bench here, in actual fact, in my mind, I'm only painting 4 guys. Yeah, so how does that work? Well, what I've done is I've split these guys down into 4 sections as such. So I'm classing the 3 X-Arts as one group of models. And then these 4 guys at the back as a group, these 4 guys as a group, and these 4 guys here as a group. And when I'm doing my painting sessions, I'm painting 4 guys. That's my sort of aim as such. So when I come to get my paint on the wet palette, and then my aim would be, right, I'm going to paint the Hormigaunt purple on these 4 guys here on their backpacks. And I'll sit down in a painting session and I'll paint that. When I've painted those, I'll have a little rest, 5-10 minutes, whatever, and make a cup of coffee, etc. And then I'll come back, I'll sit down and say, right, now I'm going to paint these 4 guys. And I'm basically breaking the units down into 4 small groups. The X-Arts are more detailed, so there's only 3 of them rather than 4 guys. It's the equivalent of painting 4 guys because there's just more detail to them. And I'm finding that works really well. It's basically me sort of breaking it down so that I'm not physically actually painting 15 guys in my mind, because if you sit down and you think, right, I've got to paint that backpack 15 times, that's quite daunting. But if you sit down and say, right, I'm going to paint 4 backpacks, it works really, really well. So it's sort of psychological. I do have a video in the archives about how to batch paint, so there's a few more tips in that video. I'll try and put a link to that video in the description below for you if you are interested. So the next step for me in this challenge is to paint the gold. I need to base coat the gold, that's the runes, and there's a few sort of runes dangling down some of their arms and stuff. Excuse me, and then I need to base coat all of the gems. My gems will be yellow as well. and then I'll pretty much be ready for washing. So I'm certainly getting there with these guys. Now I am going away for a couple of days on a business trip, so I'm not going to be around for the next couple of days as from tomorrow, but once that's over, I'll be back and painting these guys up, and of course I'll update you as and when. So that's it from me in this video. Thanks very much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next update.